Number 1. Ra. Ra was the god of sun. He was the most important god in ancient Egypt. In the traveling through the underworld, he was the king of the gods. He was also described as the creator of everything. Ra was most commonly depicted as a sun god, who wore the sun disk on his head. He was also represented as a man with a sun disk. Peoples in ancient Egypt believed that Ra was the ruler of heavens and he was the bringer of light. Legends believe that the sun travels in the sky when Ra drives his chariot through the heaven. Powers of Sun God. Immortality. As the first god he may have immortality. Teleportation. For a quick moment, Ra takes the form of a fire-like energy sphere to move from one place to another. Transformation. Ra is able to transform his size, allowing him to become much taller than any of the gods. Like Ant-Man movie. Super healing. Ra God, he heals faster, healing but by the time Horus give him his spear he is completely healed. Symbol of Ra. Sun disk. Weapon. The spear of Ra. Number 2. Anubis. Anubis is an Egyptian god of afterlife and mummification. As god of embalming dead and afterlife lost souls, Anubis is one of the most prominent and mystical gods of ancient Egypt. Depicted as a protector of graves as early as the first dynasty, Anubis was also an embalmer. One of his prominent roles was as a god who ushered souls into afterlife. Anubis was depicted in black, a color that symbolized regeneration life, the soil of the Nile River and the discoloration of the corpse after embalming. Powers. Anubis possesses superhuman strength. Anubis capable of running and moving speed greater than human athlete. Anubis is functionally immortal in the sense that he is immune to again. Anubis capable of healing with superhuman levels of speed and efficiency if injured. Anubis' body is high resistance to physical injury. He is capable of withstanding great impact forces and energy blasts. Symbol. Anubis god symbol is black jackal head. Number 3. Sekhmet. Sekhmet is the Egyptian goddess of war, destruction and healing. She is the daughter of the Ra. Sekhmet, a goddess of war and the destroyer of enemies of the sun god Ra. Sekhmet was associated both with disease and with healing in medicine. She was called the Eye of Ra. She was the patron of physicians and healers. Ancient Egyptians believed that Sekhmet had a cure for every problem. In order to stay on her good side, they offered her food and drink. They would whisper their prayers into the ears of cat mummies and offers them to Sekhmet. They believed that this was a direct connection to the deities and prayers would be answered. Powers. Sekhmet likely possessed some form of combat magic. She is a war goddess. Sekhmet is able to manipulate a person's anatomy, infecting them with sickness and plagues. She can produce tremendous amounts of lighting and electricity when battling her enemies. She uses a bow to fire fiery arrows at her enemies. Sekhmet, goddess of healing. She is able to restore the sick and injured to full health. Weapon. Her weapon were arrows and a fiery glow. Number 4. Sobek. Sobek was the Egyptian god of crocodiles in Nile River. He was shown with the head of a crocodile. Sobek was the ancient Egyptian god of crocodiles, the water. Sobek's role was to protect the pharaoh from evil, but it differs with each person. Sobek was also associated with paranoiac power, fertility and military prowess, but served additionally as a protective deities with apotropaic qualities and protection against the dangers presented by Nile. Sobek was called the Lord of Fayum and was considered the god who controlled the water. The Nile was very important to the people of Egypt. He was revered in Egyptian culture and was prayed to in order to be protected from the crocodiles that filled the Niles. Power. As the god of water, he has absolute control and divine authority over water. He is also good at fighting, excelling at battle. He can also use combat magic. Sobek possessed